want to title my teaching, if I don't finish this morning, I will continue in the night. If I don't finish in the night, I continue tomorrow morning. I believe I will finish it by then. The protocol of ascending thrones. Many of you will not have noticed, but the contention from Genesis to the point that Jesus died and resurrected is actually a battle of thrones. There is always a mini representation of that contention manifested in all the typologies of men that God placed his hand upon throughout the scripture. For example, you go to the book of Genesis. As soon as man fell, there was a prophecy that went out. He said that the seed of the woman will bruise the head of the serpent. As soon as that word went out from the mouth of God, Satan initiated his own protocol. He knew that there was a contest, because it was from that word that came out from the mouth of God that he realized that there is a seed that have the ability to crush him. So the first thing Satan began to do from that point is to see if he can pollute and corrupt every seed. He knew if we will succeed in that agenda, then God will not have that kind of seed that have the ability to bruise the head of the serpent. So before you know it, Abel rose up. Satan looked at Abel, the way he is behaving. Is Abel the one? He didn't bother to find out, because Abel was well behaved, was doing everything God wanted. So Satan said, this might be the seed that will bruise the head of the serpent. He rose up through another man and killed him. That was how he continued moving. He will look at Moses. Moses, are you the one? He will pursue Moses into the wilderness. Look at David, are you the one? He kept looking for people, kept killing people, kept looking for people, kept killing people. In fact, the very purpose, the end of iniquity, is to make sure that God doesn't get seats. That's the end of iniquity. That the human race is too corrupted for to sit upon the thrones of his government. Because follow me, follow me, follow me. Open Psalms chapter 110. Keep it before you. So by the time Jesus was born, a word went out. The wise men came thinking that a king was born. They went and met Herod. They said, where is he who is born the king of the Jews? Where is the better place to search for a king except at the palace? Is he not at the palace? He went to the palace to search for the king. When he went there, Herod told him, anytime you find that king, come and tell me. And God have to appear to the wise men and tell them that this guy's intention was not good. As soon as he was appearing to them, he appeared to Joseph and to Mary and told them, take this child, take him to Egypt so that he can be preserved. As soon as he took him to Egypt, the man Herod took his soldiers and slaughtered every child that is 2 years old and down. You see, it was at that point that the prophecy that captured that experience was recorded. The scripture said, at Ramah a cry was heard. At Ramah, that Rachel wept for her children. Rachel wept for her children because they were slaughtered. They didn't do anything. And that was my burden many times. Things happen in Nigeria, happen in Africa. You will find out that even the children of God are victims of the same thing that afflict the people in darkness. Why? The challenge is that thrones are contending. It has been the battle of thrones from the beginning. When Satan, who is Lucifer, lifted a cry, we knew what was the contention, the battle. He said, I will set my throne at the side of the north. Man of God, is a battle of thrones. It was throne that was in contention. That piece of utterance gave us a revelation on how things are governed in the universe. It seems as if nothing can happen except it flows through a throne. Many times when you see a man of God flow in very high dimension, has to place his throne there. And in our nuclear biological family, the throne is sat upon by the man, the father. The reason is that God needed to govern, and he has to govern through that man. And that is why there is contention. The thrones we are fighting, and on that day, you don't have the capacity to ascend your own throne, because it's only throne versus throne. Men without thrones don't have voices. Men without thrones, they are victims. Men without thrones, they can't answer to the cry of a generation, because what it takes to answer a generation is something that is captured within a throne. It's just like somebody trying to lead. No matter how much you try to lead Nigeria, no matter how much your intention is, you need a throne. And that is why we contest an election, so that somebody will sit at the throne as the president, because it affords you the opportunity to guide things. There are resources, there are personnel. Once you enter there, they will call you Grand Commander of the Federal Republic. It means that many things come under your command. These things have been waiting. They are there, waiting for a man that have the sufficient stature. Enter the throne. And the man can stand and say, from my day, no more death in my family. And it will be so. From today. An elderly woman came and met my mother many years ago, and told my mother that this place, can you see that place? He pointed to a particular family. He said, watch out at that family. That every woman that is married in that family, if you have 2 children, if you have 5, at least one will be an imbecile. If you have 4, at least one will be an imbecile. If you have 3, at least one will be an imbecile. If you have 2, what will happen? You are correct. What if you have 1? You are correct. He told my mother, if you look there, you learn a lesson. That things don't happen. If it's transferring from one generation to another, you are not seeing any face. That means there is a throne that ensures that administration of imbecility is given to every family, one after another. You need to sit so that you can change that reading. Do you know that there are families that have 3 generations of calling, 4 generations of calling? Nobody has yet fulfilled his calling. Your great-grandfather walked with the missionaries, the whites. Your grandfather walked with them. Your father is a man of God. Your great-grandfather did not fulfill. Your grandfather did not fulfill. Your father did not fulfill. You just think that you just come out and something just changes. There is a throne you need to ascend so that you can change it. The scripture made us to understand that in the days that Reuben ascended the bed of his father looked at him and cursed him. But a day came, in the days that Moses rose as king over Israel, it's called Jeshurun. He looked at him and said, let Reuben live and not die. That kind of utterance can be made from a throne. He ascended. There are many things I see many people, believers, Christians, even people in the society, they will be thinking that is working hard. They will be thinking is to motivate the people. Give me a sign. You will give me a rod before I go back. You need something to go back to the US. You need something to go back to the US. You need something. You can't just go back to Ghana like that. You can't. And the worst part is that some of them have seen you. You have snapped picture with me. That's your screensaver. You have put